The next bill on the calendar for the day is House File 1415. The clerk will report the bill.
House File number 1415, number 2 on the calendar for the day, an act relating to commerce, the third engrossment.
Recognize the member from Scott, Representative Albright, to introduce your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, House File 1415 is a daily fantasy sports bill. The purpose of this bill, bringing it forward, is to provide consumer protections and a framework for which we can make sure that bad actors don't involve themselves in the ongoing activities of our citizens. A little background, fantasy sports is legal and popular in Minnesota. Over 1 million of our constituents play it already. Whether it be daily, weekly, or season-long, this is not a bet, and it cannot be a bet in law. It involves research, an extensive amount of attention and skill, as many of us in the room probably are already aware. This does set up a regulatory framework that allows good actors to operate fantasy games within the state and stops bad actors, again, from hurting our constituents. Happy to stand for questions. Thank you.
There is an amendment at the desk. The clerk will report the amendment.
Hansen moves to amend House File number 1415, the third engrossment, as follows, and the amendment is coded A5.
Recognize the member from Dakota, Representative Hansen, to introduce your amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. The A5 amendment deals with kind of a new topic here on the floor of the Minnesota House. It relates to loot boxes. And I'm not sure if there are that many members who have heard of or understand the issue relating to the potential for gaming in loot boxes. Those of you, I would ask you maybe to talk to your children or your grandchildren about video games and loot boxes as we begin this conversation. Representative Albright and I talked this morning. It is not my intent to move forward with this amendment, but I want this to be the beginning of a conversation that hopefully we can look at in Minnesota and be part of a discussion or conversation that is occurring around this country. The video gaming industry is larger than the movie industry in our country. It is a huge industry. And the potential there for gaming, for the chance, the option to win, and the spending of money in that winning, I think is something that the Minnesota House and Senate and our state government needs to discuss. There is a bill that I introduced, House File 4460, has bipartisan support. Some of you have signed on that in the last 24 hours. I look forward to continuing the conversation. I believe Representative Zerwas is also interested in this, and I look forward to having that conversation.
The member from Sherburne, Representative Zerwas.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. Thank you, Representative Hansen, for bringing forward this amendment. I think the idea of loot boxes in video games aimed and geared towards children is a very important topic to discuss. And for members' information, what we're discussing are games of chance embedded in other video games readily available on individuals' cell phone games or Xbox or PlayStation games that are connected to the internet, where the player, through paying an extra monetary fee, can download an extra game that's a game of chance. And so you might end up paying money for something to your child. If you're lucky enough to have your credit card attached to your Apple account, your child may end up downloading an extra chance to, in a sense, gamble and play a game of chance embedded within this video game. This is a topic that's being discussed in multiple states around the country. I agree with Representative Hansen that this isn't the appropriate bill to have that discussion, but I look forward to advancing those bills through the committee process next session. And I thank Representative Hansen for offering this amendment to bring the discussion to the members' attention.
The member from Dakota, Representative Hansen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and members. I just sent you a New York Times story that was published today that gives some background and things that are happening in other states. We'll try to get you more information on a bipartisan basis so we can look at this in the future. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I withdraw the amendment.
Representative Hansen withdraws the A5 amendment. There are no further amendments at the desk. The clerk will give the bill its third reading.
Third reading, House File Number 1415.
Third reading. Discussion on final passage of House File 1415. The member from Hennepin, Representative Hornstein.
Now, thank you, Mr. Speaker and members, and I appreciate the effort in this bill to put some guardrails around a potentially new form of placing bets, and one can certainly debate whether it's gambling or not. I come down on the side that this is a form of gambling. And I have distributed a letter from the Joint Religious Legislative Coalition to the body. That includes the Council of Churches, the Catholic Conference, the Jewish Community Relations Council, and the Islamic Center of Minnesota. And my concern with this is that we have many of our constituents that have issues with compulsive gambling. And we need more resources in the state to address this. While we don't have data specifically from Minnesota, we do know that in other states, upwards of 1 or 2% of the population suffers from this illness. And we also know that up to half of the people that engage in gaming and gambling have this condition of compulsive gambling. And of course, it causes so many different issues and concerns. And so a bill like this needs to have, I think, additional resources attached to it. We need to be treating this illness. And without that, I think that we do run the risk of increasing the significant social costs that are attributed to expansion of gambling, which are outlined in this letter. And so for those reasons, while I do believe it's helpful, Representative Albright, that you've put some guardrails on this, I don't think it's enough, and I think without putting some additional resources into addressing the social costs of gambling, this falls short, and I'll be voting no.
The member from Hennepin, Representative Davney.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, members. Representative Hornstein, thank you for your wise counsel. There's a number of concerns related with this bill and with this industry. Representative Hornstein spoke articulately on the impact of this expansion of gambling on too many vulnerable constituents across our state, and that's a real area of concern. We know the destruction that any form of addiction can present to a family, and addiction to daily sports gambling is as much of an addiction as alcohol or drugs or the opioid epidemic. It has much the same elements to it and much the same negative impact. My concern and my hesitation is the insufficient regulatory structure in the bill. This is an industry that has accusations that it is rife with fraud and corruption. In issues of insider trading, where an employee of one of the major daily sports gambling entities that has lobbied in favor of this bill was betting on the site of another of the major daily sports gambling entities that lobbied in favor of this bill and won $350,000 doing that, allegedly because he had insider information that was not available to the public. So I go forward to place my bet for the day, and the guy taking the bet online, in essence, has information about how I'm going to lose and he's going to win. The regulation provided in this bill doesn't deal sufficiently with that. Wire fraud, another one of the entities that's been in this field but has gone bankrupt, accusations that they were involved in federal wire fraud. Insufficient regulation to deal with that. Accusations of player collusion to get around some of the regulations and win huge pots of money, but in a fraudulent sort of fashion. The corruption and fraud accusations for this industry are everywhere, and we are not sufficiently providing protection to Minnesotans who choose to bet on daily sports gambling entities, and for that reason, I will be a no. Thank you.
Any further discussion on the bill? The member from Wabasha, Representative Drazkowski.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members, I kind of wonder where this bill came from, but I've been around here long enough to know we don't hear any groundswell of interest in Minnesotans to bring this bill forward. This is brought forward by moneyed interests that want to fence around their operations, utilizing government in the structures outlined in this bill in order to do it. So the idea is, if you want to be in control of an industry, and the only legal way in law to do it is you build up rules around it, including a $1,500 fee in order for your company to operate. So if you're a little ma and pa business somewhere wanting to do this, guess what? $1,500. You have to pay it every year. I'm not hearing support for this bill anywhere from any of my constituents, not one. And the silence is deafening. And the reality is, this is full of swamp water. We have moneyed interests bringing this forward to support their future, and they're going to fence out everybody else. That's what this bill does. This is bad for Minnesota, bad for our constituents, and it deserves to be defeated. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The member from Wright, Representative Lucero.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And just to touch base or to build upon the comments of Representative Drazkowski, when it comes to online activities, we in the cybersecurity industry are often faced with the reality that much cyber crime occurs outside of the jurisdictions that we're currently operating in. It could be outside of the state, or it could be outside of the country. And so one of the concerns that I have with this bill is that it creates a potential false sense of security. Because if the supposition is that those who want to engage, operators who want to engage in this activity, daily fantasy sports, are going to license themselves with the authorities in the state of Minnesota, if you're outside the jurisdiction of the country and you stand up websites that are hosted in jurisdictions that are outside the boundaries of the state of Minnesota, what is the recourse? And so it creates the potential that those in the state of Minnesota who want to engage in this activity, they might have the false sense of security that the website that they're using is regulated and is on the up and up. But that isn't necessarily the case. So I just want members to take that into consideration on this bill. Thank you.
Further discussion? And Representative Albright will give you the final word.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, members. One of the comments that was made in the protections, I think, is well heard. But Representative Dabney, if you take a look at the provisions in the bill, the insider trading is prohibited. So I just want to assure you that that issue that you raised has been addressed in this bill. Members, this is a piece of legislation that provides guidelines. Nothing more. It's not an expansion. Please vote yes. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the clerk will take the roll on the bill. Clerk will close the roll. There being 48 ayes and 74 nays, the bill does not pass.